Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Thank you for downloading and checking out the premier geek podcast, OZ and the Freak Talk Geek. I'm OZ.
And I'm the freak. And today's episode is Rinse and Repeat. We're going to be talking about reboots and remakes, the differences between them, and some of the better ones and some of the worst ones. Because there's a
I
lot of horrible ones out there, dude.
I did take a little bit of time and I got kind of an idea of what I perceive as
Yeah.
remakes that work and don't work.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I didn't get into TV shows or video games. It's mostly just movies this time.
I got you. I got you. And that's the thing about reboots. Reboots can be anything could be rebooted or remade. Be
Mhm.
it comic series, books, TV shows, movies, podcasts.
Yeah.
Speaking of podcasts,
What about them?
so remember we've talked about this for a long time,
Oh, sure.
and we've discussed this. We've been friends for like 20 something years, and almost 20 years or whatever. I'm not sure. I lost count.
Did
It's
you
been a
forget
long
my
time.
Facebook post the other day?
Well, that was Facebook friends.
You're right.
Yeah. Um.
We've known each other, Jeb, at this point, 23 years. We met each
Really.
other in 2001, 2002.
Shit,
So
I met you
22,
when I was
23
like
years.
16 or 17 years old then.
You were still in high school.
Okay, yeah, that checks out.
Yeah.
That definitely checks out then.
You were a customer of mine before we became friends.
Before we became friends, and then I became kind of coworker. Well, you worked at Game Crazy, I was at Hollywood,
Hey,
but they were connected.
correct. Correct.
Yeah, so but anyways, so we've mentioned before on this as well as I think one of our Facebook posts and stuff like that, how this has been a dream of yours for 10 plus years. You've been wanting to do podcasts.
I've been wanting to do my own podcast. Gosh, since I started listening to Kevin Smith's podcast,
Uh-huh.
Smodcast,
Smodcast, all
or
right.
even the original Nerdist,
Mm-hmm.
kind of got me wanting to do it. So, and then there was this deep influx of people that were doing them after this radio station fired everybody in in Portland, and I
Mm-hmm.
got into listening to them and listening to them how they figured out and did their own podcast. They were very on Front Street of like the difficulties and what they were working through and all that other stuff, and it inspired me and wanted me to do one. So
Okay.
yeah, I've been wanting to do one, and finally I'm getting to do one with you.
Nice. Well, I wasn't there the first time around that you did do one. Uh I did some Facebook stalking and some snooping around. Not gonna mention any names, Volney. But I found a picture. Let's go ahead and let's bring this up here.
What did you find? Ah,
Oz and his Geeks
yeah,
podcast.
my name always goes first. Okay,
Uh
so what that was
yeah.
was my original attempt at a podcast
Hmm.
using a beat up laptop and a microphone from Rock Band.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And my co-host for that one episode I did was my roommate. And he had a Rock Band microphone on his laptop. I had a
Uh-huh.
Rock Band microphone on my laptop. We put together uh, I can't even remember what the hell we talked about. And yeah, and that was the first one. And what the original point of the show was to talk to people like you,
Uh-huh.
talk to him, talk to everybody, and
Well,
talk
yeah,
to
we
them about,
right there.
yeah,
Oz the Geek and his geeky minions explore the world of pop culture, geekness, and pretty much whatever's on their minds in this weekly podcast.
yeah, yeah.
And I tried to give OZ over here a little hint that I had this because I told him I wanted to originally name this episode Foot and Mouth.
And I'm
And
like, why?
he's sitting there like, why would we name it that? And since we're talking about reboots and remakes, I found this and I'm like, in a way, this is more of like a reboot, I guess, right? Not a remake. This would be more of a reboot, I
Yeah,
guess.
this is a hard reboot.
This is a hard
This
reboot.
is not even a soft reboot.
This is a hard reboot of your first podcast, Oz and His Geeks. And bro,
right. And OZ kind of rolls off the tongue better, I think.
not to throw you on blast here, man, but
That
what's
is
going
me.
on there?
Okay.
What's happening here?
Okay. So I thought it was a fun cover. So this was at my first motorcycle rally ever down, and it was down in Galveston. And they have a lot of like aquatic themed stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm on is, you know, those horses that are out, they used to be outside of gas stations. You put a quarter in and you go for a ride.
Yeah. They rock back and forth.
Right. Well, this was a dolphin. So I had my girlfriend at the time take a picture of me riding this dolphin, and so I'm throwing my hand up like I'm riding a bucking bronco.
All right, so let me get this straight. You're at the Texas Lone Star Rally in Galveston.
Yes.
And we
total
have
bikered
up and everything, and we got a picture of you on a dolphin.
Yeah.
It's a pretty sweet dolphin.
It's a very sweet dolphin, and a very sweet, which you can't make out in this picture, a very sweet Green Lantern shirt.
Nah.
And I think a Green Lantern pin on the cut too. Not there.
Maybe. They're probably up here somewhere. Yeah. That's funny, man.
Yeah, that was
2011.
All right. So I'm bad with math. 13, 14 years ago?
13 years ago.
13 years ago, about 100 pounds. Yeah.
Well, I think our ratings are almost about the same.
Oh, yeah. How many viewers did I get? Did it say?
Let's see. This was released on 8/27/11, price free.
No. Look under
downloads 3, but I think that's your iTunes store. This is just a picture, so I can't really find anything else.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I tried. I've been trying. But now I found the right co-host.
Well, we do have the same amount of reviews.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right, so the of foot and mouth that I totally did not get.
Uh-huh.
And it occurred to me why Of Foot and Mouth was named for that episode.
Okay.
So it was me and Volney recording that episode, and at the very beginning, I said my name, and then I said I'm here with Volney, my best friend and roommate, and we went on with the recording. And the person I was living with at the time, other than him, she had a problem with me referring to Volney as my best friend.
Okay.
So I had to go in and fix the podcast where I clipped out calling him my best friend. It says,
"Wow,
this is Volney, my friend and roommate."
Wow, that's hilarious.
All right.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. But that's that. Yep.
Okay. Well,
little hard reboot on the podcast. Yeah. I'm glad.
Yeah, figured that's a good
it
way.
Worked out this time. This is why we're doing this episode today, and we're not skipping this week.
Yeah. Let it be known, this episode's happening right now, courtesy of OZ over here, because this one almost bitched out. And not for any bad reason other than just the fact that it's been a long week. You know, sometimes we go through that. You know, we've all got shit we're going through. But I had a couple of real early morning jobs recently in which I pulled in almost 30 hours in 2 days, running on fumes, and that's why I got this here. So,
right. Well, let's bang through this one, and let's let's get you some sleep, bud.
Nah. We can take our time. Beat the drum slowly style.
Okay, bud.
Um,
So when you approached me with the topic of reboots, and I'm like, oh, what can we? How can we really come at this?
mhm.
So I focused hard on movies, and I was thinking, okay, well, which movies are reboots? Let me just get it. Let me take a broad picture at what's reboots.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw some reboots, and I was like, okay, all right, yeah, all right, I remember that, and I remember the original. And then there's been remakes of reboots.
Okay, hold up. Let me interrupt you real quick. Okay. Before we go on talking about what we're going to be talking about here. So everybody's clear. What's the difference between a reboot and a remake?
All right, because there's
There's a
also
difference.
there's also the thing too is like, is this really just taking a long time to get a sequel?
Mm-hmm. Well, so sequels are canonical. It's like the Thing. When they came out with the Thing Part Two, it was just called the Thing. Um, but people thought it was a remake when in reality it was a prequel.
Right,
You know.
right.
So what is a reboot?
Well, see, now I looked into it, and I looked into the etymology
Mm-hmm.
of the word and what it comes from. Reboot and remake are technically the same thing in regards to our media. Reboot was a more popular term for remake a couple of years ago, and it got harder. It got more ingrained into our lexicon,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I'm kind of going into with right now. Is that
Okay.
remake and reboot are technically the same thing.
So now,
What I'm trying to differentiate when I was going through this
mhm.
whole list is what's a sequel really and not a reboot.
Okay. So my take going into this is a reboot and a remake are two different things.
Okay.
Um, from the many different definitions and whatnot, from what I've looked up, a reboot is a it's a remake of a movie. However, a reboot uses the same storyline, whereas a remake changes things up. Um, for example, Shin Godzilla. Have you seen Shin Godzilla?
No. Christ, I want you though.
Okay. Uh,
That's the one where he goes through those like 3 or 4 different phases.
3 to 4 different phases.
Yeah, I want to see that. That was creepy as
Yeah.
hell.
So let me see if I can figure out another one here. I had a list pulled up here.
Okay, well, let's see. No, I don't want to get too bogged down
Mhm.
in regards to what's what and what's a remake, what's a reboot. I just kind of want to go through what we think worked and didn't work, and I wanted to see how much of an agreement we are in reboot slash remakes that
Mhm.
worked and ones that didn't, and whether or not it's actually considered a remake or a reboot and not just a sequel.
Okay, so here we go. So a reboot is a new incarnation of a film that uses several of the same plot points, characters, and setting as the
Okay.
original, whereas the remake doesn't. So when we're talking the same plot points, same characters, and same setting, Spider-Man movies are technically a reboot.
Right.
Same character, same plot, similar story, similar or setting, but we've changed up who the main villain is in this one, who this is, and the characters and whatnot. Those are reboots.
Okay.
Whereas a remake would be a new Spider-Man movie, which changes his origin story, completely, reimagine. It's a reimagining in a way, but it's completely different. The
Then I think
Munsters
your Godzilla, then your whole Godzilla franchise is remakes,
remakes.
not
Correct. They
reboots,
correct. Correct. They are. And
with
that's
the exception
of
of which one was it?
well, there's so many to be honest with you.
2014's Godzilla.
Okay.
I believe that one is a reboot of the original Godzilla,
Mm-hmm.
where
And
the 1998 is a remake, the one with Matthew Broderick.
yes, yes. Well, okay. So Matthew Broderick would have been, yes, would have been a remake, 100%. Godzilla, he had all these little baby Godzillas and all this other shit, and he was tiny and burrowing and nesting in a building.
He was a T-Rex.
Like, yeah, he was a T-Rex, just kind of like he was in -1 at the beginning. Spoilers if you didn't see it, sorry.
Fucker.
Hardly know her.
Okay. Well,
So,
good. That probably explains why
there is a
reboots
difference.
work and remakes don't.
Yeah, pretty much. And for the longest time, we've always called them remakes. To me, I would say the phrase reboot is fairly new. I mean, it's
Yeah,
new to
it is.
me.
That's what I was talking about
It,
earlier.
yeah, it's definitely new. Um, but you start breaking it down. You've got reboots, remakes, reimagining. You know, and it starts broadening out even more. But here today we're talking about reboots and remakes.
Right.
Um, so I just kind of
Okay.
wanted to let them know a little bit. Sorry.
I understand. No. I got you. bud. Well, the first one I wanted to talk about, and this one that actually has a sequel that's coming out here really soon, is the remake of Planet of the Apes
Okay.
in 2001,
Mm-hmm.
starring Mark Wahlberg.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't work. However, when we got the reboot of the franchise in 2011's Rise of the Planet of the Apes,
Mm-hmm.
is a reboot and it's working.
I definitely love it. What was the main dude? Caesar.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely love Caesar.
Yeah.
Um,
And what makes this a reboot and not a remake?
mm-hmm.
But the one, okay, so the Mark Wahlberg one's technically a reboot too because it followed along the main basic plot of the original Planet of the Apes. What's going on with Rise of the Planet of the Apes in this series right now is it's not worried so much about the scientists coming down from space and like, oh my god, here's a human, like here what happens to the human race. It's like,
Yeah,
no,
where
we're
it
going to
just kind of
show,
happened overnight. This is
yeah,
showing
no,
the evolution
we're
of
going
it.
to show how they got there to this point, which I am appreciating, which they did in the original series.
Mm-hmm.
The two monkeys, the two apes came back. I can't remember what their names were. They came back in one later part of the franchise and gave birth to Caesar, and
Mm-hmm.
then they show him rising up, and they show what's happening now. We just
Mm-hmm.
skipped all that BS now with these reboots, and it's working right now with Andy Serkis and with his whole crew, and it is definitely a reboot that is worthy of watching and checking out, and it's a series too.
Who was in the original? Was that Charleston Heston or
Charlton Heston, yeah,
okay?
he was the lead in that
He
one.
was the main guy with that. Damn
Mm-hmm.
yous all to hell.
You're ruined it. Yeah. So
Okay.
I mean,
I also like Jason Mewes' version of that too.
yeah. But again, this is a reboot that didn't work,
Mm-hmm.
and they said we're gonna try it again, and it's
Mm-hmm.
working, which I think is fantastic. But it's also a trend that I've seen in regards to reboots as part of my research.
Yeah.
Another example of that is what is it? Okay, in backwards. This one's working in backwards now.
Okay.
Okay, so the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem,
Okay.
2023 reboot of the whole Ninja Turtle franchise, and it sucks. Have you watched it yet?
Did it come to theaters?
Yeah, it was in theaters, but it's on
Live
Paramount
action?
Plus. No, it's not live action. I'm not talking
No.
about the live action one. I'm talking about the cartoon one right now.
Oh, okay. No,
And the
haven't
live
seen it.
action ones. And the live action ones that came out that Michael Bay made.
Yeah.
The 2014 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, those ones. Okay. I could not get into those ones. I tried.
I
I
appreciate
really
them
tried.
trying, and I appreciate what they did in the sequel one when
I
they,
wanted
they
it to
made a
be
live action
successful.
Bebop and Rocksteady.
Hmm.
I was like, oh yes, finally we got a live action Bebop and Rocksteady. They look great, but I couldn't get into the rest of the movie. It was all just
Yeah.
explosions, and I'm like, they're ninjas.
Hmm.
Like they're supposed to be stealthy. Why are we having so much explosions?
Well, fingers
I,
crossed, Last Ronin.
right?
So,
But there was a reboot back in 2007 called TMNT,
okay,
which
yeah,
was an animated
cartoon series.
but it was a cartoon movie.
Okay.
It was just a movie it came to theaters in 2007, TMNT, and it was a soft reboot, more of a sequel really to what we've gotten before that time with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And it showed Raphael going off on his own, being like this kind of like a lone superhero,
Hmm.
and they were coming. Like, the big bad was like a series of like these mystical creatures, but
Yeah.
I think was a far better sequel slash reboot than the ones that we're getting right now. So I don't know why the
I'll
big change.
I'll be honest with you. I couldn't get over the theme song.
Yeah.
TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Like I couldn't get past the damn theme song. It was so
Teenage Mutant
trash.
Ninja Turtles. No,
Now
no, it's not the same.
that's one I can get behind, you know.
Where do
As far
we
as
go
far
ahead?
as the whole Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise, we grew up with it. We had the toys, we had the cartoon show, we had the movies, we had the live tours. Uh, I've still got the cassette tapes from each of the movie as well as live.
Nice.
Um, but I mean, moving forward, it's people like in our generation. You know, for me personally, it's not working for me. I'm having a real hard time getting into any of the rebrands for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, any of the shows, the cartoons, the new movies. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to Ronin, which again is a little off topic because it's not a reboot, it's not a remake, it's a telling of a comic series, which would be canonical. I mean, it's a continuation, but it's
Right.
not. Uh, what we have now is just not what we grew up with. And
No,
I
we're not
get that
going
it's
to.
working for a lot of the younger generations, just
Exactly.
not me. I just can't get
Yeah.
behind it.
It's not for us. It's just for us to shake our fists at, and it's like, oh, this is not my Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Oh, this is
Now
not my Superman.
now
It's like because we didn't grow up with it, and it's not
yeah.
technically it's not made for us. It's made for new people.
Hmm. Now we did
And
get Transformers.
yes, we did get Transformers, and
Hmm.
I've
They're
only
still carrying on with it.
the live action Transformers. The only one that I've liked so far, and
Hmm.
I mean, I don't even know who would listen to this and care about my opinion, but the only one that I've enjoyed so far has been Bumblebee, and that was like a prequel,
Hmm.
and that one was really good. It there was so much, so big in those Transformers movies, and with Bumblebee, it was just Bumblebee,
Hmm.
just him and his little adventure, and there's hardly any other Transformers in it. And
Yeah.
that's exactly like, okay, I'm enjoying this. I'm getting some character development. I'm seeing the universe that's through the eyes of Bumblebee as being like this new creature here on this planet. I'm down for this. Let's keep this. It doesn't need to be huge and overwhelming like the rest of the Transformer movies. Bumblebee
Yeah.
was good.
Fun fact: I haven't seen Bumblebee yet.
I would check it out, dude. I really would. You don't need to see any of the rest of them. Honestly, you really don't need to see any of the rest of Transformer movies. Give Bumblebee a try. It's
Hmm.
fun. It's fun.
I'm gonna have to take your word for that and check it out.
Okay, yeah. So, let's see. All right, I don't want to get into that one yet. Okay,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, not yet. That one's gonna wait. Uh,
You
okay.
want to do
So
a
what do you?
best and worst of at the end, or when do you want to do that?
Well, that's kind of all I have right now is
Best and
what I
worst.
have best and worst. What I have is what worked and didn't work for me. Like okay, so I got Rise of the Planet of the Apes worked for me. Planet of the Apes didn't work for me. Um,
Okay, you know I don't like DC Comics, right?
yes.
And I have to say DC Comics, even though I hate people that say DC Comics. It just helps for certain people.
You mean Detective Comics?
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like your PIN number. The N in PIN stands for number.
Yeah.
um,
I'm like, wait a minute, how do you know my PIN number?
you're right. So, not a huge fan of DC. However,
Mm-hmm.
Batman, Batman Begins
Batman Begins is on my list of works.
works for
Ba-
me too.
Batman Begins
Works for me.
works. The
Now
Batman didn't work for me.
did not work, and that's the Robert Pattinson one, right?
Yeah, it is the Robert Pattinson one.
That's the super hella emo. I
Super,
could not.
so
We
emo.
and even the misses. We it took us twice to sit down and watch the whole damn movie, two tries, and even still at the end of it, it was trash. We could not stand it.
It was just so dark too. I
I
understand
liked the
Batman,
villains, but
and
I
yeah,
really appreciated the villains. The villains were awesome. It was Batman himself. We couldn't stand it, man. Christian
yeah.
Bale did a great job.
I mean, he was no Ben Affleck.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Ben Affleck's Batman is, I think, the definitive movie Batman.
Really?
As little as we got of him compared to the other Batman, um, and I mean, he was more Batman than George Clooney or Val Kilmer. But even
Well,
compared to Michael Keaton and compared to Christian Bale, I think Ben Affleck exuded both Bruce Wayne and Batman.
mhm.
Uh,
Keaton's broke neck Batman was hands down my absolute favorite. Yeah, yeah. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, he couldn't move his neck in the damn film, so the whole time he's moving his
yeah,
entire body like that to look around.
yeah, looking with his
Um,
shoulders.
and then we had Clooney with nipples.
Yeah,
Um, but anyways, I mean Michael
but then
Keaton
there
was
you
my
go.
favorite.
There's another worked and didn't work.
Yeah.
But with and what broke the trend for me is the newer one. It didn't work. The Batman didn't work for
Hmm.
me as much as the Dark Knight did or Batman v Superman.
It seems to be you got to have a good balance of make believe villains and heroes with more realistic villains and heroes, I guess.
Right.
It seems like the more and more we've progressed through the Batman timeline or the Batman, movie franchise, we went from kind of cartoony villains as we saw with Batman and Robin, with Poison Ivy, Bane, and Mr. Freeze, where they took on a lot of the comic book aspect,
Right.
and they were more, like I said, cartoony in a way. Um, but then we get a little bit more serious with the Batman Begins, Christian Bale, and then we get very, in a way, realistic with the way they portrayed the Riddler.
Yeah.
In the Batman wasn't some dude in this fancy get up like Jim Carrey's Riddler. Um, he wasn't like that, I mean, they did a great job with the Riddler.
They made the Riddler a serious threat, which I super,
Exactly.
super appreciate. I was like, that's awesome. I
Hmm.
just wish I could fucking see it.
Yeah,
I don't want to turn up my fucking brightness on my TV to
yeah,
see the fucking movie.
yeah. It was the movie was dark, and the setting was dark,
Yeah.
and Pattison was emo as shit.
Shit.
I said it. I don't care.
It's
I
okay.
don't like Pattison.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
uh,
well, we can keep on DC for a little bit here.
okay, what you got?
Okay. Superman Returns in 2006 with mm, Kevin Spacey played Lex Luthor.
Okay.
Okay. Brandon Routh played Clark Kent Superman. They introduced, you know, Lois Lane has a son. Oh my God, it's Superman's son. Is technically a sequel to the original 70s and 80s Superman movies. Um, Technically, it's also a reboot.
Mm-hmm.
New characters or new actors playing the characters, but it's still like a soft sequel slash reboot. Didn't work for me.
Okay.
But I fucking love Man of Steel 2013. I fucking love 2013's Man of Steel. It made so much sense for me that somebody who would come to this planet and be so OP, oh, how does he deal with it? It's like the
Mm-hmm.
missing years of Jesus Christ in the Bible. You know what I mean? Like when he found out he was the son of Christ and he came back in his 30s later with those 12 buds, you
Mm-hmm.
know, what happened in between? I bet he was fucked up. Like Superman was fucked up in Man of Steel 2013.
Okay. So uh, I haven't seen them.
Wow.
I'm not a DC fan.
Okay.
I
Okay.
did give the Batmans, I can get kind of behind the Batman movies, and I'm usually rooting for the villains. But Superman is too white bread. He's just too Mr. Clean, Mr. Perfect, like I could never get behind Superman, man. Like, I
What
don't know.
and that's what I liked about this one is I'm not a Superman fan either. I'm
Hmm.
really not. I'm not a Superman fan. I'm not a Batman fan. In regards to DC, I only like and enjoy reading just a few handful of different characters.
Hmm.
Um,
Same here.
but the big three are not my jam.
Hmm.
But that's what I liked about the Superman one is him coming to terms like I am OP. I am a god on this planet. And how do I handle that? It's actually seeing him breaking and seeing him struggling with all of this. Like,
Hmm.
how does one deal with that from the perspective of how he was raised as a human?
Yeah.
Um, he's still OP. He's still breaking General Zod's neck. He's still tearing down cities. But it really shows him struggling before he's got that cool, calm demeanor that we've seen in him in the comics, which I
Hmm.
really I did appreciate it. It was nice seeing the perfection that is Superman imperfect.
Let me ask you this. Have you seen Brightburn?
I have. Brightburn is
Holy
amazing.
shit.
How close is Superman? You know what
Well,
he could have.
that's the thing. That I now I don't know this for fact. I'm not quoting it, but in my opinion, Brightburn is if Superman turned out not to be such a good guy after all.
Mm-hmm. It
Uh,
is. That's what
uh,
it is.
it,
That's what that movie
that's
is.
Brightburn.
And it is amazing. It's a little
I
slow burn, but when it gets into
it's
it,
a little slow building
holy
up.
shit! I'm getting goosebumps over here just thinking about that
I want
movie.
to
It's
watch it
so
again.
damn good.
I was
It
talking
is
about the
so
other
good.
day. Yeah, I was talking about the other day, and I've been wanting to watch it again.
Very good movie.
But anybody for those who haven't seen Brightburn, it's basically literally same story. Child comes from space, parents find him in the woods in a capsule, bring him, raise him like he's their own. Kid comes to find out he's got special powers and all sorts of stuff going on, and he doesn't use this power for good.
Mm-mm.
And it's I'm not gonna give any spoilers, but it's great. The shit that happens.
Yeah, it
And
definitely
I want
it
them to make
satiates a
more.
lot of it's. Oh, I want another one too. It satiates your like your curiosity on what would it be like, and it's also like it's a really good like it's a tense horror
Mhm.
movie too,
Oh,
and
100% horror.
at least a gore fest. Um, But yeah, no, that's good. That's such a good. Or I want like I don't know. Hopefully they made one, or if they didn't, I would read it. Give me a comic sequel. I would
Yeah,
take
that
even a
would be a
comic
nice.
sequel.
That would be a nice sequel.
Just let me see what this fucking Nazi Homelander will do.
Oh man.
Man. Okay.
So
Another.
in the realm of superheroes,
Mhm.
um, did you ever see the Spawn movie?
I did. I did see the original Spawn movie, the
Okay,
live
so
action one. I've also saw
and
the HBO animated
that's what I was
series.
gonna say. And then we also had the HBO series,
Hmm.
which to me again kind of goes into the whole reboot remake. Um,
Yeah, it does.
it's it except it's a different telling of the story. It's still part of his origin story. Uh, um, except it goes on into so much more in the cartoon series. Um,
It deals more with
as
us time in hell.
mhm.
Yeah,
Well, not only that, but it goes in. You know, in the movie, we only see really one villain.
yeah. We just see the Violator.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, and Quinn, uh, um, trying to blow up everything, and Malbolgia. Whereas in the animated series, you know, we definitely see a whole lot more of different bad guys that start emerging. I think they only had what 4 seasons of it. Not sure. There's three or
I don't
four
even.
seasons.
Yeah, I was say I don't even know if they had that many seasons of it.
I definitely know. I know they had three, but I'm not sure if it was 3 or 4.
All right.
Because I mean, I used to have them on cassette tape. That's how old that series is. But I mean, so the movie would be a reboot. Because the movie does follow, you know, from the comic book, an original telling of the character, the story, and the plot. And for me, that's a reboot that works.
Right.
Um,
What do you think about this? Have you heard the stuff about what's been going on with Spawn and Jamie Foxx?
Jamie Foxx, dude, they've been talking about that. I feel like for the past 5 6 years.
Right. When's it gonna happen?
Todd McFarlane has even come out on social media saying it's happening. It's just happening slow.
Right. Okay.
Um, and I
I
don't
just
know,
don't
man.
want Jamie Foxx to age out. You know what I mean?
I don't think he will. Jamie Foxx is an amazing actor. I absolutely loved him as Electro.
I did too. I did too.
I
I liked him.
even though that would be a remake because they changed the character up.
Well, okay. Well, goes into one of mine that works and
Mm-hmm.
doesn't work.
Uh-huh.
Is all right.
This one works.
So we have Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire.
Uh-huh.
Let's call that the original.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and then you have your
And Andrew
remake
Griffin.
Andrew with yeah, Andrew Griffin sounds right. And then you had the ones with Tom Holland,
Tom Holland.
the reboot.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well,
Andrew
actually,
Garfield doesn't work.
hold
Andrew
up.
Garfield doesn't work for me. Tom Holland does. I just wish
Okay.
they would just stop. I wish all of them would just stop killing the fucking villains.
Thank you. We talked about this on our last podcast. That's what pissed me off about Venom
Yeah,
was the fact that literally within a 24-hour period, Carnage dies.
right,
Yeah, and I don't want to. We're not. Gonna, I don't want to get back into that.
right.
But
I'm
yes,
sorry.
yes. Again, they have these villains for decades. Some of them.
Right. Like,
Stop
well, they're
killing them in a
that's the
week.
thing with superheroes. It's like, come on, you're not supposed to kill them. You're supposed to take them, and they're supposed to go to try to be rehabilitated, and then they need to break out and cause chaos again. Like, come on, like,
Yeah,
quit killing everybody.
It's the whole Arkham Asylum. That's the
Yeah,
purpose of Arkham Asylum is to allow these characters to come back later in the series.
yeah, yeah.
That's literally the purpose.
Let's go. Like,
Um,
why don't we keep
I
killing the bad guys?
again
Just
though, and Andrew Griffin's Spider Man.
Garfield.
I thank you, Garfield. I don't know why I keep saying Griffin.
Um,
Uh, I got Family Guy on the mind, I guess. Giggity. The so Garfield's Spider Man. I loved
2012's The Amazing Spider-Man.
I loved the villains way more than I really cared about Spider Man. And this is one of the few ones where I actually mostly felt that way. because I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. I love Spider-Man. I grew up on Spider-Man. And the first time around, I was watching it in theaters, and I knew that they were making Electro. Um and part of me was wanting to hate it,
Right.
and just because I've got that mindset of, the white guy with the face mask of lightning bolts and the green outfit and green and
Right.
yellow and shit. I've got that mindset, but seeing the progression of Electro and how he was going kind of crazy, and how they made him, even though he turned out to be this big blue energy dude, it worked and I loved it.
I loved his character design.
And one of the things that I loved most about that was the music that they played every time when he's starting to go crazy, and it builds up and it builds up and it builds up, and he can hear like these voices. You can hear him kind of like slowly, the wall breaking inside where he's kind of losing it.
Mhm.
And there's one scene at the end when he flashes, and when he's electricity and he flashes up out of a bolt of electricity, and for a split second the electricity makes the design of the
Right.
original Electro face, and dude, I lost it at that. I loved it so much. I love Jamie Foxx, man. He's a great actor.
Oh yeah, dude. But I did like Blue. I did love the character design. It made
Mhm.
sense.
It really
Totally
did.
get it. But I did fanboy out a little bit in the when he came back in the Homecoming sequels.
That was really cool too.
So and then he had the true, like he had it
Hmm.
and it made sense, and I was just like, it's different. I did fanboy out. Oh, that looks closer to the original cheesy ass
Yeah,
costume.
yeah, it was really cool. It was
And it was
really
really
cool.
cool seeing Shocker too in those movies too, with
Hmm.
the gauntlets, and I was like, okay, that makes sense. All right, there we go.
Hmm.
And they're not dead, I don't think.
Yeah.
So, but
No,
that's
they
what
did. They
the
did a
but
great job.
the Tom Holland ones worked for me. I actually bought him being a high schooler
Hmm.
more than Tobey Maguire, more than Andrew Garfield. For me, Spider Man, despite him not being there in my head, in my own head canon, Spider Man's a high school kid
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
or just out of high school. Which I'm sorry, Tobey Maguire was a 30-year-old man graduating high school, and Andrew Garfield wasn't that much further behind.
Yeah,
Um,
this is true.
like I don't need.
Plus, Tom Holland really, really, really pulled out the neighborhood Spider-Man.
He
Like,
did.
he really seemed like a pretty positive person, and he, all of them were pretty witty.
Oh yeah,
There was more dry wit and whatnot, but Tom Holland really manifests the neighbor friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, in my opinion.
he did.
I can't see the dude smile and not smile back too. It's
Right.
contagious.
Right.
You
No,
know, he definitely has portrayed the best version of Spider-Man, in my opinion.
I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. So hopefully we can get more out of him if we do get any more Spider-Mans.
I think we got three more.
Oh well, maybe, but
Yeah.
like if he can't do it anymore, I understand. Let's hand it off and let's go to Miles then, because
Hmm.
there's a lot more people now interested in Miles.
Yeah, I'm still
I,
I'm
I'm
still
ready,
Team Holland.
dude. I've had 9 movies of Spider-Man
Hmm.
and Peter Parker. Let's go. Let's go. Let's try Miles. Let's try.
Okay.
Why not? Why not try Miles? It's something that we hadn't gotten 9 times already,
Hmm.
and it can
Well,
still
no, no.
fit into
So
our universe.
that's my thing is I don't want a new Spider-Man. I want Tom Holland to continue his own Spider-Man.
That's fine, and he
Yeah,
still
I
can,
definitely
and
just don't
have
want a new
Miles in
one.
the story too.
Well,
Miles is
yeah,
just
we can
another
do that.
Spider-Man.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm okay with
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Like,
I just don't want to pass the reins off just yet. I want to see more Holland continuing to play Spider-Man.
well, yeah. I think we'll get something like what happened in the Spider-Man 2 video game,
Hmm.
with him and Miles working together, and then eventually, Tom Holland's going to have to peel off and hand it over to Miles.
Eventually, yeah, I get that. I'm just not ready.
Yeah.
So,
So that one, that's what worked and what didn't work for me.
mhm.
Um, let's see what else I got. Okay,
Halloween.
okay. I haven't seen them. See, I stayed away from stuff I hadn't seen, so I haven't seen any either of the both the reboots for Halloween yet.
Hmm.
There was
So
the
the
Rob
Rob
Zombie one,
Zombie, and I don't know who did the other one.
right? But
Uh,
did you
but
enjoy any of
but
those?
that was but that was technically a continuation, not a reboot. So that I'm just counting the reboot part, or at least remake.
Right.
Those were continuations.
Really?
The Rob Zombie one.
That one's a reboot.
And it both works and it doesn't work.
No.
Well, it works for me because I loved the backstory that we got, which essentially made this a remake
Right.
instead of a reboot, because we actually got the backstory this time. And this, the first one did have a lot to do with the child, Michael Myers, and kind of how he became to be the Michael Myers, and his time in the prison and mental asylum, a little bit, making
Didn't
the
they go into all
masks.
that with Halloween too, though?
Uh, we kind of did, but again, we didn't get that in the original one. We had to get that from the sequel.
That's true.
So we got all this in one. However, we also got Sherry Moon, which kind of ruined it for me. Everything else
Wow.
about the movie I loved,
Yeah, there's
but
a reboot that we don't talk about is the Munsters.
yeah, there's a reason for that, because it sucked. It fucking sucked.
Dude,
And
I couldn't even
at
watch
least
it. Like 5 minutes in, I
we
literally will turn it
oh
off.
no, we watched it. Me and the missus watched it. Grandpa, the guy that played Grandpa, did a great job.
Right.
Herman Munster and Lily and everybody else, just no thanks. Couldn't care for it. It was horrible. And it just kept getting worse. We were hoping it was going to get better, but it didn't. It was literally just downhill the entire way.
It just made campiness worse, didn't it?
It really did.
There's
It
campiness, but then he just kept hitting it, hitting it,
mhm.
hitting it over the fucking head.
Yeah, no, that was a movie that started off bad and just ended up way worse.
Mm.
Um
A reboot that didn't work.
Another one that we talked about the other day, another horror film, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay, a
A
reboot that
remake.
worked for me.
Remake. Well, wouldn't this be a remake?
Well, no,
Okay, technically it would be a reboot. You're right. Because we did get kind
they,
of the storyline, but
we
this one
didn't
just went
change
more
anything.
in depth. No, they did. You're right. They didn't change anything. And this was one for both of us that worked.
Very much worked.
I know
Very
that
much
there's a
worked.
lot of people in the horror community that hated it, and I really don't give a shit.
No,
I loved it. I thought they did a great job. They made
Freddy is
him
a
a
piece of
creepy,
shit,
scary guy.
demon monster
Yeah.
and he doesn't need to be laughed at. I don't need to laugh at Freddy. He's a piece of shit.
So, now that I'm thinking about it, a lot of the horror classics have had reboots,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
but there's
Child's
one that
Play.
didn't. There's one that didn't.
What's that? Pumpkinhead.
Uh, well, no, it did not get a remake, but it's had 3 parts. Jason, Friday the 13th. Did it ever get a reboot?
Yeah, it had to.
Oh,
Have,
you know
dude.
what? It did. It did. It did. I just can't remember what year.
I think Rob Zombie did that one too.
I'm not sure about that one.
You got the Google machine closer to
Yeah,
you than I
yeah.
do.
We're gonna have to do this.
Okay,
I'm
so
gonna
let's
have to
talk
look
about a
into this
reboot
real
that
quick.
didn't work in horror, as far as horror is concerned. Actually, I'm gonna say one that
I'm.
worked.
How about I'm wearing the T-shirt for that had many reboots and remakes,
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Okay, yeah,
but one of them was absolute dog shit trash.
I swear to
And
God, if you say Next Generation,
Next Generation,
you son of a bitch,
fucking Next Generation, man, it
you
was
son of a
dog shit,
bitch,
dog shit.
you're wrong, sir. I'm sorry. I need a TV remote control operating leg, Matthew McConaughey. And if I can't have that, then I don't see the point in living
Okay.
anymore.
2009, Friday the 13th, the one where he found out that he was related to her. Oh man, it had Jared Padalecki from
Okay.
Supernatural trying to
Yeah.
find his sister.
All right.
Um,
Who's it directed by?
trying to figure that one out.
Dead air.
Marcus Nispel.
Okay. Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
It didn't work for me. I hadn't seen it, so I don't care.
So it took me a little bit to remember that that was actually not a sequel, but an actual like a remake,
All right.
and
See, I
I
think
didn't
this is
care for it.
where
Didn't care for it.
they're learning in horror movies where a remake doesn't work, but a reboot can,
Mm-hmm.
and that's with Child's Play.
No, no, no,
The
no, no,
remake didn't
nope,
work.
nope,
The
absolutely.
reboot is working. The
What's the reboot?
reboot is technically still sequels.
Which one is the reboot that we're talking about, though? Okay, well, okay, so the sequels are working.
The sequels that are still considered reboots or remakes, along with the TV series, is working.
The
The
TV series is
remake,
dog shit, bro.
bro, you watch your fucking
The
mouth.
TV series Chucky is dog shit.
You are
Okay.
so fucking wrong, dude.
Okay. For starters, when did it have to be that a child has to, kill somebody and he's trying to get these children to kill somebody and all of a sudden he's got like an army of Chuckies that are all parts of his soul and identical to him, and yet
That
he's the
comes from
leader.
the sequels.
No, okay, but hear me out. If they are all identical Chuckies, why would one of them be a leader? If they were identical Chuckies, they would have been like, "Fuck you, I'm gonna do my own thing," and they would have just dismissed.
They
They
go
would
through
not be.
that.
They would not be listening to the one Chucky.
They go
Not to
through
mention,
that.
not to mention the fact that Chucky has been hard to kill for so long, and yet they go through this montage of all these different Chuckies attacking the kids, and the kids are killing them off left and right.
Which they should be able to. He's just a fucking doll.
They should
This,
be able to, but all these people have had such a hard issue killing him in the past.
yeah,
I
it's because
mean,
in the
you
past they
hold the
were
dude out at
pussies.
arm's length, and he's.
I'm sorry, but I want two gay teenage boys to kick Chucky's ass.
I would love to see that.
And we are seeing that in the TV show.
I couldn't. I forgot what TV show, what stream service it's on. Is it Peacock?
Yeah, it's on Peacock.
Okay, so we got Peacock for like a month just so we can watch that, and I had to stop halfway through. I couldn't.
Mm.
The missus is a huge Chucky
Keep going.
fan. Huge. She loves Child's Play. I couldn't get through it. I will say this though, a completely unrelated note. I didn't even recognize that was Devon Sawa, the kid's dad. I didn't that he aged well.
He did.
He aged very well.
He did. And towards the end of the first season, Andy comes back and they go full fucking circle with Child's Play, dude. Finish the season, get into the second season. I'm telling you, it's so
We did
fucking
watch
good.
the second season, I think, because the second season is when he had the army of him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Tiffany was there,
Yeah,
playing herself, and I don't know, that whole thing was just weird. There was a lot of like I felt like fourth wall breaks there going on.
yeah.
But it didn't work for me. So for me, TV show didn't work.
Well, it's working for me.
The remake of the movie with the Wi-Fi doll of Chucky,
Yeah,
was trash.
right.
Horrible
Even from the
trash.
design to the concept, and that is a true remake, not a reboot.
Agreed. True remake.
So
absolute dog trash.
Another dog trash reboot remake is the 2014 RoboCop.
Okay. I liked it for what it was.
I liked his
But
design. I
yeah,
like
and
his
I
updated
liked, yeah,
design,
that's what I liked.
and it was the same with the remake of Total Recall. I liked the design. Thank you for the
Hmm.
update in the design and the special effects. The story fell flat. The acting fell
Hmm.
flat. RoboCop to me had just enough camp, you know, and it had just enough fucking sick humor
Hmm.
where this and the Total Recall remake just completely missed. Just said,
Yep.
no, this is a
Well,
serious topic. This is a serious subject on this sci-fi fucking thing. Like, no, we don't need that.
okay. So, how you feel about these two movies? About the
Hmm.
original being better? That's how I feel about Judge Dredd.
Okay, okay. I mean,
That's how
look,
that's how I
I'm
feel about Judge Dredd.
look, as we're learning and progressing along this podcast. I'm really realizing how wrong you really are. When clearly the remake is superior to the original.
No, no,
Yeah,
no, no.
yeah.
It didn't even have
I am the law.
no, no, yeah, I mean I get that, but it didn't have well, you can do it. What's that damn dude's
Rob
name?
Schneider.
Rob Schneider.
We don't need comedy in Judge Dredd.
Yeah,
We
but
need
it's
a
nice.
badass judge
Oh, we had
laying
a
down the
badass
fucking
judge.
law. Sylvester Stallone was not a badass judge.
I just wish that the movies would have progressed. I wish we would have gotten more Judge Dredds with Stallone, and I would have loved to have seen a live action Judge Death. I did read some of the comics there. I did enjoy them.
I
I
never got into
enjoyed
the 2000 AD comics. I never got into
yeah,
them. They were a little too underground for me.
I thoroughly enjoyed them, man. The futuristic sci-fi world that they did live in, the comics expanded more on that. Uh, but I loved it. And this was also considering, I'm a big fan of Demolition Man.
Okay,
I
Demolition Man's great.
love
Don't
that great movie, but it's
Sylvester
like
Stallone's amazing in that. Let's
yeah,
let's
and
go. Demolition Man's fantastic.
yeah,
But
but it was in
I'm
that
sorry, Carl
same
Urban is a
era.
superior Judge Dredd.
I disagree. I disagree.
The only thing that your
I would have
Sylvester
loved
Stallone
that.
Judge Dredd had better than the remake with Carl Urban was
Uh-huh.
that fucking robot.
And that robot was amazing.
That
And that
robot was
robot
amazing.
really made and break that movie storyline wise towards the end there. Um, but that robot was amazing.
Yeah, that's about the
So
only that's the only redeeming quality I can give that fucking movie. Okay, Carl Urban's Judge, amazing. Doesn't ever take off his fucking helmet.
mhm.
He's hard on the rookie. He's fucking serious, and
It
he's
was a
just
great movie.
blasting back. He's
It
amazing.
was a great movie. I'm not gonna lie, but the original was better. That's all I'm saying. I will say the remake for Judge Dredd, it works for me. It does, but I do prefer the original. I'm not saying the new one's bad
Oh
at
no!
all
Well,
by any
I don't
standards.
want you to have the thing where I'm saying that reboots
Yeah.
or remakes are always superior to the original. If
Well,
we can
no,
go
they're
back
not.
to what I think, like I prefer to watch the '60s and '70s Planet of the Apes over the
Hmm.
new ones. It's just because it's feel good candy for me from
Yeah.
nostalgia wise.
Hmm.
Um, uh, shit, even Star Trek. I'll watch the old Star Trek movies before I'll watch the 209 reboot, the
Yeah.
2009 reboot. Uh, I like the nostalgia. Reboots don't always work, even if they're good. They're not. I don't think they're far superior to the original
No,
because it
no,
still has
and
that nostalgia flavor to it.
yeah, and see, and most of my reboots and remakes, a lot of them really do fall into more of the horror genre.
Right.
The Fly, Cape Fear, Dawn of the Dead, the Fog, It. There's so many. I mean, the list can go on for
Oh,
a
I didn't
pretty
even think
long
about
time.
that, man. I didn't even get to the it. You didn't even get to it yet.
Yeah, I mean, there's
It
again,
is
there's so
so
much.
much better than the Tim Curry one.
See, and I'm not going to say which there's one is better than the other for me, because there's aspects of each one of them that I really do thoroughly love.
Right.
Skarsgård is a phenomenal actor. I'm a big fan of pretty much all the Skarsgårds. Their
Yeah.
entire awesome Norse Viking family
Right.
are amazing. They really are. But at the same time, Tim Curry really holds a special place for me.
Tim
I
Curry holds a special place in all of our geek hearts with Dr.
Yeah.
Frankenfurter,
Uh-huh.
with his role
Home
in Home Alone
Alone.
2.
His
Um,
musicals that he used to do back when he was younger too. I mean,
hey,
Tim Curry's
he was
amazing.
Long John Silver in the
Hmm.
Muppets.
Yeah,
You
I do
know,
remember that.
I mean, like Tim Curry, yeah, he's great. He has a special place in our hearts, a special like weird pocket, like somewhere's over there by Mister Rogers.
And
Um,
he was also the darkness and legend.
yes, he was. Yes, he was. He was
Yeah. The
in that big old devil
giant
costume.
horn demon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Um,
it took me a while to figure out that was Tim Curry.
oh, that voice gives him away. The
Yeah.
voice just gives him away, dude. But I like the new It more than the old one, and I've read the
So
book too.
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Do you like the new It over the old one because of
Even though it's broken up over two movies, I like how
because of like
concise
the
it is.
clown? Or do you like it because it's just been updated, or do you like the storyline? And the first one was broken down into two movies too.
Well, it was like four mini.
It was
It was a mini series.
Yeah, you're right, I guess.
Um, Having read the book, and I enjoy the book, and I enjoy a lot of
Hmm.
Stephen King stuff. I
Hmm.
thought that even though they updated the year in which like the kids stuff happened, um, I thought that it stuck closer to the source material than the Tim Curry one.
Hmm.
And then I enjoyed the book so much, seeing the updated movie felt more closer to the source material,
Okay.
and that's why.
Okay. Okay.
And
That's fine.
Skarsgård, I felt his Pennywise was
Hmm.
more menacing than Tim Curry's. I
Oh,
felt that
by far it was.
he was more alien and he was more of a threat than Tim Curry's
Hmm.
was.
And I mean, I do feel like a lot of that also comes from uh technology.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
we
Oh
we
yeah.
we
No.
have more
Yeah.
special effects. We can do more with that stuff. And I get that. I really do. But I'm not now. And again, I'm not saying one's better than the other at this point. I'm just conflicted. I couldn't tell you which one I prefer.
Yeah. I get you. Well, speaking of
I
Skarsgård
love
and
both of
reboots,
them.
though,
Yeah.
how do you think he's going to do with the Crow?
Uh, uh, have you seen pictures of him?
I have, and I don't. I don't care. I have, and I'm going to go and watch this movie with an open mind and an open heart. And they can update it as much as they
Yeah.
want because it's not like the comic book anyway. And neither was the
No.
Brandon Lee movie. It was nothing
No,
like
it
the comic
wasn't.
book anyway.
No.
So
But
it's not
I don't
it
know.
doesn't give two fucks,
I don't
let
know.
alone three fucks of the source material.
Either way,
So
it's going to be better than what was it, Crow City of Angels. It's
okay,
going to be
Rosie of
better than
Angels was a sequel.
I know, but either way, but it was horrible.
It was good.
So this
City of
new
Angels
movie
was
that
good.
comes out is going to at least be better than that one. And again, I'm going to go into it with an open mind. I'm going to try to,
It's
but
gonna be better than the TV series that rebooted.
that TV series was dog shit, and we don't talk about that. I'm just going to call it what it is.
What do you consider? Okay, so Mad Max Fury Road is a sequel,
Okay, thank you, thank you.
but is could it also be considered a reboot into our cultural lexicon?
Okay, I'm glad you brought this up
Mm-hmm.
because you know, just to kind of prepare for this episode, I was curious what other people looked up, what thought. and I would pull up, top 10 or top 20 best reboot or best remakes. And if you go into them, there's a lot of like, for example, right now I've got pulled up top 10 best movie remakes. They have The Fly up there. But if you go into the top 10 popular movie reboots, you also have The Fly up there, as well as Dawn of the Dead and The Thing. So it's not really reliable sources as far as just Googling stuff like that.
Right.
And in a couple of my searches, I did find Mad Max Fury Road in the remake categories.
And it's not.
And well, to be honest with you, I have not done my research. I thought that this was a continuation.
It is.
So a lot of people are putting it in the reboot.
They're putting in the reboot
Category as
category
well.
because the timeline doesn't make sense with as far as Max Wachowski's age.
Mm-hmm.
And Miller has even come out saying that this is a sequel. This is Max after
Thunderdome.
after Thunderdome.
Mm-hmm.
But they're like, well, he's so much younger now. I'm like, yeah, he is.
We're not going to say it makes sense, but it is a sequel.
It's a sequel.
Right?
It's after Thunderdome. It's why
Mm-hmm.
he's getting those flashes and all those fucking head ticks. Is because all the shit that he's gone through
Mm-hmm.
leading up to and after Beyond Thunderdome. This is a sequel, but it's
Okay.
also a reboot into our. Because it's been how many years has it been since Thunderdome? 30, 40
Shit,
years?
dude. Yeah. I mean,
When did
that's
Thunderdome
that's
come
that.
out?
I don't
80,
know.
81?
Back around the same time of Blade Runner.
Right. So it's been so long. It is technically a reboot, but it's still a continuation.
Yeah.
It's still telling the same story, the same character.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a different actor.
And if this wasn't a continuation, let's say it's not. Let's say it's not a sequel. This is a reboot I can get behind.
It actually doesn't need to be. He doesn't need to
Mm-hmm.
be Max. He does not need to be Max, and this
Because
does not need to be Mad Max. This could just be in the world of Mad Max, and he could be
thank
playing
you. That's what
somebody
I was
else.
thinking of. Mad Max sets the tone.
Right.
Mad Max doesn't necessarily mean to me the main character,
Right.
because we do have Mad Max Fury Road, which we do get Tom Hardy. Not many lines, not much going on there. We got Furiosa, which
Charlize Theron.
is part of the Mad Max trilogy world, and well, no, Charlize Theron was in
She's
Fury
fur-
Road.
she's Furiosa in Fury Road. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like in Furiosa.
Oh
We
yeah,
don't
yeah,
really,
yeah.
yeah, we don't get her. Um, but it's still the Mad Max world that we
Right.
all know.
Right.
And even if it was a reboot, it would work for me. Now, just because I'm a huge fan of the franchise and the setting, um, I would like to see actual more Mad Maxes with, Mel Gibson's version, not necessarily Mel Gibson, but Mel Gibson's version of Mad Max. Tom Hardy's Mad Max was a completely different take of Mad Max. Like
Yeah, he could have
you wouldn't
been
even know it's supposed to be the same character.
right. This movie would have made sense in the storyline as far as Tom Hardy is concerned. For
Mm-hmm.
me, between the Mad Max 2 and Thunderdome.
Mm-hmm.
That would have made sense to me.
I could
That
see
would have
that.
been like
Yeah,
I can see
I could see
that.
that.
He gets some kind of car, and then the whole thing's getting pulled by the ox, and the fight. That would make sense. But with the whole age conundrum, is doesn't make any sense.
No,
But
it really doesn't.
it doesn't, and I admit to that, and so does the filmmaker. But
But then again, there's a whole bunch of shit in the Mad Max world that doesn't make sense anyway. So why not just throw that in?
no, that's true. That's fine. And like I said, he didn't have to be Max, or he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to be the original Max.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it is what it is. But it's a
Mm-hmm.
sequel, not a reboot.
Yep.
Anyway, enough about that. So I
We're
wanted to.
almost out of time tonight.
We are, and there's
Yeah.
going to be. I want to talk about a reboot remake that works for me and doesn't work for me at the exact same time.
Is it one of the Mario games?
No, I didn't get into any of the video games. I didn't get into really into TV shows.
Okay, what is it? What you got?
Ghostbusters, Answer the Call. I want to talk about the Lady Ghostbusters.
I'd rather not.
No, we're going to talk about reboots. We're talking about remakes. We've got to talk about Answer the Call. We've got to
Ghostbusters
discuss.
Answer the Call, the all-female Ghostbusters, was a travesty. It was horrible. It had nothing to do with the women itself, as we have actually discussed this before.
We did on our
all of
Ghostbusters
those
episode.
women in general are great actresses, and they're hilarious. I'm thinking maybe it's the script.
Yeah.
But the movie was shit. We could not finish it. We absolutely could not finish the film. I could not take them seriously. It to me,
it wasn't written for you to take them seriously. It was written as too hard of a comedy.
It was too hard. It was a Saturday Night Live skit that went on for way too long.
Agreed.
What it was.
I completely agree. And the reason why it works for me and it doesn't work for me is because of that. It works for me that it was so bad that Sony had to say, okay, fuck in Christ, let's just give him a sequel. And that's
okay.
when we got when we got Afterlife.
Yeah.
So
they basically, it was so bad they said we can't leave it off like this.
No.
Yeah.
No, we have this IP and we fucked it up. And the ladies didn't fuck it up. I think
no. I think it was just absolute dog trash script and storyline.
I think Chris Hemsworth fucked it up.
Yes, I'll agree.
And
I'm a big fan of his too, and I don't
think the direction and the set production, I don't think that fucked it up. I think the writing fucked it up. I completely agree with you. The writing fucked it up. Now, what it didn't fuck up, though, it didn't fuck up my Ghostbusters movies. It's not in the same universe. It's not in the same thing. It's not. And we're at a point now in our cultural, like in our geek pop cultural mindset, that we can accept alternate universes. Fuck, the MCU is giving us a lot of that right now.
Yeah, but it still has to be a good movie, even if it's in an alternate universe. I don't care about that.
Agreed.
I don't care about the female cast.
What I appreciate about the Ghostbusters Answer the Call is I appreciate those women going in it and giving it a go. I appreciate the production design. I appreciate how they came about it in their universe to become the Ghostbusters. I appreciate that Ecto-1. I appreciate their proton packs. I appreciate their diversity as far as their equipment is concerned. And it was more it was more dirt under your fingernails, make it ourselves Ghostbusters. Which they tried, which we know that they did that with Egon and Ray building the proton packs, but seeing it and seeing this version of the proton packs and of their equipment and how they're going about it, it seemed dirtier. It seemed more street level, less fantasy, despite the cartoony looking ghosts.
Yeah, I just, like I said, I haven't even finished. I couldn't tell you much about the movie because I didn't get that far into it because it was that bad from the get go.
Gotcha.
Definitely doesn't work for me.
Okay. And then 2019 Hellboy works for me.
100%.
Yeah, I need
100%. I don't care what anybody says. Me and the missus are on different sides here. She does not like the Hellboy remake.
Well, I loved it. It's because she loves
Perlman.
She loves Perlman.
Yeah,
of course.
We all love Perlman.
How do you not love Ron Perlman?
Yeah, like the greatest caveman ever.
Exactly. But David Harbour's Hellboy is the spoiled fucking teenager Hellboy that we needed.
Yep. Yes, he is.
That movie got such shit upon, and it obsessed me so much.
It did. It got a lot of bad reviews, and I can't help anything about that, but I
No,
thoroughly loved it. I thought it was a great movie.
and it's a shame. It's just a shame. We're gonna get another remake here soon, and I know David Harbour's not attached to it, so we'll see what this new guy can do.
Yeah,
It's a
let's
shame.
see.
Yeah, man, that's about it. That's what I have for boots and reboots and remakes and shakes.
Master Shake.
Yeah. Oh, superior remake to the original Evil Dead 2013. There, I said it.
No.
Even though it's a sequel.
We'll have to discuss that one later.
Yeah.
It was a great movie. It's not superior. Great movie,
Okay.
though.
You can still
Absolute
be
great
wrong.
movie.
So it's fine. We've established how wrong you can be. Thank you so much for downloading and listening to us.
Jackass.
Please get in touch with us on our social medias, OATFTG, OZ
Yep.
and the Freak Talk Geek. Check out our link tree. Check out our Instagram. Check out our TikTok. I
Don't
found
forget to
out
check out
why
Oz and
our...
his Geeks.
Yeah. If you like the hat, hit me up on the DMs. I can get it shipped to you about $25.
All right.
Yeah, buddy. So hit us up. Give us a likes, comments. Please subscribe. Let us know what you hate. Let us know what you liked. Let us know reboots that work for you, what didn't work for you. Please let me know. And don't put it in my DMs. I want you to make sure you put it on a comment where we can all see it, and so we can see how wrong Freak is in his opinions. So please, yeah,
Yes, I want to know too.
Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching.
Yep.
I'm OZ.
And I'm the Freak.
We've been talking
and
geek.
We've been talking geek.
Thank you so much.